More people joining the protest. Geographically speaking, it seems to be turning possibly national. Could that be the case, do you think?
It's absolutely definitely spreading. The protests actually on Occupy Wall Street last week compared to this week, it has grown immensely. And just to reiterate what Marina previously said, this is just one incident of many of the NYPD gone wild. Last week, they sprayed with mace in the face women protesting. Some women were screaming, some were crying. They were, protesting peacefully, and they were mace in the face. The NYPD said their internal affairs unit is investigating the incident, but I mean, Ray Kelly, the head of the NYPD, was on 60 Minutes just last Sunday, bragging about his $150 million surveillance studio that he has, which is in a secret location, and said they have 2,000 cameras in New York City and soon to be 3,000 cameras.
So a highly expensive method of observing the people, monitoring the people, but then again, as we see the police actions turn down to brutality. If I may just jump in here, though, the anger is directed at bankers in New York, but should the big political fish in Washington be afraid, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, who's lobbying, for Wall Street? Wall Street has lobbyists in Washington, D.C., and they're allowing them to take the money from the poor and give it to the rich. Definitely they should be worried. I can definitely see this protest spreading throughout America and one day being on the steps of Capitol Hill or possibly in front of the White House.
If I may, there are certainly many that are drawing comparisons here over the past number of months of campaigns and protests across the Eurozone. Of course, as we've seen in more recent months, those across the Arab world and Northern Africa and the Middle East as well. But Obama is facing re-election next year. The campaign is already on. How could these protests affect that? Surely this could be perhaps a bit of an advantage or an edge for the Republicans.
Absolutely. Obama doesn't need any more bad press or publicity. Basically, the reason behind these protests are the United States citizens are getting fed up. A lot of people are out of work. They can't find work. They're scraping by paycheck to paycheck. I've been fortunate to travel to 30 different countries, and as a rule, Americans usually don't protest. So this is something very, very new that the administration should definitely be watching carefully and be afraid of. And really, they should, listen to the people. It's something that the government hasn't been doing lately. And they should definitely take heed.
It certainly does seem that there is a trickle-down effect of where the protests are starting in New York and are spreading, as we had said, to Boston and then heading west across America. But can I ask you, does the average American really understand the level of corruption between Wall Street and Capitol Hill? That the big money players, the energy companies, the defense industry, the communication companies, they're the ones that really finance and dictate the campaign policies in Washington. Do people understand that when it comes to bailouts, it's banks paying banks and the middleman, the middle class, consistently being overlooked and neglected?
I would say absolutely without a doubt, no. The average American, unfortunately, does not realize the amount of corruption, the lobbying policies. It's very sad, but true. And, you were talking about Obama and re-election. I mean, this is just, like I said, one incident of many which happened with the NYPD. They just arrested 700, protesters. And like Marina said, I heard from people that were actually on the ground, the NYPD sort of, trapped them, and it was a bit of a setup. So, they basically set the people up, and things were peaceful and going along rather smoothly until that happened. And Obama, I mean, we just had last several days ago, which was big news. Obama administration, through the CIA, through a drone strike, assassinated an American citizen without due process. He was accused of terrorism, but he never was in the court, and he never had a chance to, say his piece. And so, and the economy is the number one thing hampering Obama right now: the economy and jobs. And I think the American people have had enough.
Well, if I may just jump in, we're running very, very low on time here, but you mentioned a moment ago this drone strike that's made it into the media across the world at the moment. And as you mentioned with Kelly, the NYPD head, talking about this multi-million-dollar surveillance equipment, perhaps do you think there could be drones already in the skies over some of these protest areas in America?
I absolutely positively think there could be. However, I do know for a fact, because I cover drones and stories quite extensively, the NYPD has contacted the Federal Aviation Administration for the use of drones. Now, they're talking about surveillance drones right now, and they already have 2,000 cameras, adding another 1,000. But I could see in the near future what's to stop them from getting weaponized drones flying above for crowd control for this very purpose, for a peaceful demonstration. Soon there might be not only surveillance drones, but possibly weaponized drones. Where does it all end?
All right, investigative journalist and blogger George Mapp, many thanks indeed for your time.